Welcome to Bōde's Edmonton real estate market update for December 2022. This video is going to show you what's happening in the Edmonton property market at a high level, and then I'm going to show you where you can find out what's happening in your local community and specific property type. But first, for those of you who don't know Bōde is a real estate tech company that helps people buy and sell homes without requiring a realtor and helps people save a lot of money. So we make the whole transaction easier and more online than ever before. So let's dive in. What's happening in the Edmonton property market? So the first chart I'm going to show you here is the number of new listings to come to market each month for the last 5 years. So here you can see with the bright pink line what's been happening in 2022. So earlier in the year there was lots of new listings, and then towards the end of the year started to drop back towards the more normal levels, and now in the most recent month in November, the number of new listings was up just 1% versus the average of the last 4 years. So we're kind of back to normal levels of new listings coming to market each month. And then on the right-hand side, you can see what's been happening with sales. So earlier in the year, the bright pink line shows you that in 2022, the number of sales was huge relative to earlier years. So setting record numbers earlier in the year, but now it started to fall back towards normal levels, and actually in the most recent month, at the end of November, there was 8% fewer sales than there were in the average of the previous 4 Novembers. So sales have really slowed down in Edmonton over the last few months, largely driven by interest rate increases, of course, designed to try and slow the market down. And but at the same time, there has been really good net migration into Edmonton, so that's helped keep demand higher than it would have been otherwise. And everyone's expecting another interest rate increase here for December. Let's take a look at what's happening with the overall inventory. So that's the total number of homes for sale, which you can see on the left-hand side of the chart here. So again, the bright pink line shows you 2022. Earlier in the year, fewer homes for sale than typical for that time of year, but that's caught back up towards the middle and latter half of the year here. And now we're back pretty close to typical levels of inventory, so pretty normal levels of homes for sale in Edmonton right now. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the months of supply. So that tells you, given the number of homes for sale and given how fast homes are currently selling, how many months would it take to sell through all of that inventory? Again, earlier in the year, months of supply was very, very low, but it's come back fast in the second half of the year to be what would now be considered a balanced market. So when the fewer months of supply, more favors sellers, the more months of supply, that more favors buyers. And where we are right now would be typically considered a balanced market, but it's heading towards becoming a buyer's market here pretty quickly if this trend continues. So if you're a seller selling your home right now, you've got slightly less competition in terms of there's slightly fewer listings for sale right now, but at the same time, buyers are having a harder time qualifying for mortgages, and there's downward pressure on prices. So let's take a look at this price chart here, which shows us what's been happening with Edmonton house prices for the last 17 years. So you can see over time they have ticked up slowly, but in the most recent period, from 2020 onwards, prices have gone up faster than they have previously in the previous 7 or 8 years. But you can see that that's kind of ended now from the middle of 2022, and it started to decline. So month over month, house prices have been going down for the last number of months. And in the most recent month, prices fell by 1.5% versus October. Overall, if we compare where we are today versus this time last year, the end of November last year, house prices are now down almost 1% year over year. So a lot of the gains that were made over the last year, or the early parts of the year, those have all been wiped out now, and actually prices are down versus this time last year. So that's what's happening at the overall Edmonton market. But if you want to find out what's happening in your local neighborhood, then we have 3 great tools for you to find out exactly what's happening. The first one's called market data, and that's where you can see the same supply and demand and price trends, but for your local neighborhood and for your specific property type. So if you have a detached home or an apartment, you can look at just your segment and see what's happening. The second tool we have is called sold data, and here's where you can look up the sold price of any home that's sold in Alberta for the last 12 years. So if you see a sold sign go up in your neighborhood and you want to find out what it sold for, simply go check out our sold data tool. Finally, if you want to get a really good feel for what your home's worth in today's market, check out our comparables tool. Here you can enter a few bits of information about your home and quickly see what are the most comparable recently sold homes, as well as what are the most comparable active listings. So you can get a good feel for what your home's worth and what you'd be competing against in today's market. So check all of that out at Bōde.ca, and if you want to see these videos in the future, make sure to subscribe below, and any questions, we'd be happy to answer them in the comments. Thanks very much.